camera, please?
Yeah, it's Teela-Faces.
Teela, and how old are you?
I'm 27.
27. And we know each other.
Yeah.
I'm your barber. I cut your hair.
Yep.
We became friends through social media and sort of living in the same area, involved in some of the same things.
Yep.
And you reached out to me probably about 2-3 months ago in regards to doing an interview. And with COVID and everything, we sort of been playing phone tag. And then you came in to get a haircut today, and we figured we might as well take care of it right now.
Yeah.
So it's nice. Where were you born?
I was born in Bloomsburg.
Okay. And did you grow up in a 2-parent home, 1-parent home?
I grew up in a 2-parent home until I was about 12, and then my father passed away from ALS. So.
Oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
So, how was that dealing with a father or a family member, a parent, you know, that was sick?
It was really hard for me because, like, my dad was more of the authority in our household. My mom, not so much. Like, my mom really didn't know how to be a parent when I was a kid, so
Yeah.
it was hard to transition from losing my dad to then going to my mom. But my mom pretty much, after he died, gave me to another family member to raise me, which that was a treacherous time in my life. So.
Okay, so your father was basically the one who raised you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you understand, at what age was did he start getting sick to the point where you knew something was, something was different?
I can remember it like clearly. It's crazy. He came into our church and started crying, and he told us that he was sick. And I think when I realized that my dad was really sick was when he was in a wheelchair, and like just to see him, because my father was heavy, like I'm heavy, he was heavy. So
yeah.
When he lost all this weight and like it just didn't look like my father anymore. So that's when I really realized like, wow, there's something really wrong with him. But I commend him because he did not take medicine because he wanted to live every moment to the fullest before he died. So, and he did that.
Yeah, awesome. Would you say that your father was like a big part of your life?
Yes.
Okay, so he was good father, everything?
Yes, he was a great father.
Awesome. Did you experience when you were younger, did you have any experiences with like domestic violence or mental, physical abuse, sexual abuse, anything like that?
I dealt with sexual abuse. I was raped as a kid, so I mean I dealt with that, and then I had mental illness but didn't know until I was older. So
okay.
But I've seen domestic violence, like my parents used to fight and I can remember them fighting.
Yeah.
But I've never seen them fight. I always would hear them fight. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I want to say, that I'm sorry, you had to experience both of those things. I grew up around domestic violence and physical violence to myself, and I know what that's like growing up as a child like that, and it's not good.
Yeah, like I think as a child emotionally like abused like by my aunt who raised me. Like I can remember as a kid, like I said, I was heavy. She told me she was gonna get a statue of a pig and put it in the refrigerator. Every time I opened it, I could see what I looked like. Like that still sticks with me, and I'm 27 years old. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it crazy the stuff that
the trauma,
sticks with us?
Yeah, like the trauma you go through as a child. Like if you don't deal with that, it's still gonna be there. Like
100%.
So.
And we tend to like stick to a lot of the bad things that happen to us. Those memories tend to stick a lot longer than the good ones, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So you said that you were a victim of sexual abuse?
Yes.
Okay. How old were you?
I was raped from the age of 10 to 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you knew the person?
It was my grandfather.
Okay.
I told my mother, but nothing ever happened, and so, yeah.
Do you feel like they didn't believe you or anything like that? Or?
I think my mom didn't believe me at the time, but like now that I'm older, like she like has said like I should have listened to you, and I was like, well, yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna. That's something you can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you feel like? Do you know if he had any other victims?
So I found out through my mother and various family members that I wasn't the first one in our family that he's done that to. So that's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, that's. I'm extremely, sorry you had to deal with that. Anybody has to deal with that. That's, and especially, a lot of times that happens in a lot of families, and they don't tend to believe the children, the victim, or they sort of sweep it under the rug and sort of be like, this is a family issue, we don't want to.
And I think that's what happened, because like it was easier to sweep it under the rug, because then if you would have brought it to light, then it would have been a whole big fight between the whole family, and I don't think she really wanted that to happen.
Of course. So you don't know who specifically any of the other victims are? I
think the other victim was a cousin of mine. She never really said it, but I've heard from multiple people that probably happened.
Okay. And did you let anybody know when it was going on?
Yeah, like I said, I let my mother know, and she didn't really, like I said, believe me, so she'd continue to let me go there, and then it would continue to happen every time I went there.
Yeah. Do you remember your feelings as that stuff was going on, and you told your mother, somebody, who we think is supposed to protect us from that type of stuff?
Yeah, like, I was scared and very, like, I felt like it was my fault. Like, he raped me because it was my fault. Like, maybe I did something to insinuate that he needed to do that to me. And the crazy part was he would rape me and then pay me afterwards. So, like, that still to this day carries into my life, because, like, I have issues with money and also with, like, sex. Because, like, when you get raped, I think it taints you. Like, you get raped and then you think, oh, that's how sex is supposed to be, but it's not. Like, I've learned that. So, like, I'm dealing with that trauma now, and I'm 27 and just dealing with sexual trauma,
Yeah, still having to deal with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said he would pay you afterwards?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would he pay you in cash or just like buy you stuff? Or?
He would pay me in cash. He'd give me like, sometimes he'd give me $20 and sometimes it'd be $40. It just depended on how much he had. And I was like, wow. Like, now looking back on it, like, I was like, as a kid I didn't understand, but now it's like, he just made me feel like I was a prostitute.
Yeah, that's, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, how did you feel when you would have to go back around him, like after the first couple times that it happened?
I hated going there. Like, I'd beg my mom not to let me go. And, like, she did have a choice, but she told me she didn't have a choice because she had to work, so.
So it was sort of like a babysitter situation?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And how did that finally come to an end?
It came to an end because my mom lost her job, so I was happy when she lost her job, because then I didn't have to go there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Is your grandfather still alive?
No, he's passed away.
Okay.
Yeah.
What did you feel when he passed away?
I don't really feel any emotion, honestly, because I had so much hatred towards him and so much anger.
Yeah.
Because he passed away when I was older, so, like, I actually stopped talking to my grandparents, just because after my father passed away, my dad's side of the family pretty much stopped talking to us, so I didn't talk to them. But I went to his funeral, I paid my respects, and like, I forgive him, like, because that's what you have to do to be able to get over your trauma.
Yeah, be able to move on.
Yeah, so.
Now, was your grandmother in the picture or just your grandfather?
No, my grandmother was still alive, but, like, when it would happen, like, she wouldn't be there, she'd be at work, so, like.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
Okay,
I
awesome.
graduated from Central Columbia.
Okay. And what age did you start experiencing and understanding like mental health issues and drugs also?
So mental health, I'm gonna say I was 21 when I realized I had mental health issues.
Okay.
Because like I always thought I had mental health. Like I always knew I was depressed because of my father, but
Mm-hmm.
I never knew like the other issues I had in my life until I was 21, and I checked into a psych hospital. But at that point in time, when I was like in my teens, I'd smoke pot and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that and drink, but I didn't start heavily using drugs and alcohol until I was older.
Okay.
So probably I'm gonna say when I turned like 20, I started using like different things.
Okay. And what was your mental health diagnosis?
I was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, anxiety, depression, and bipolar.
Okay. And could you explain just a little bit for the viewers what type of stuff you were dealing with, like your symptoms and stuff like that?
So with bipolar, I would go from having an extreme high, which is like you're really happy all the time, like you feel invisible.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're in a low, you're extremely sad, and like I always wanted to die, and I've had suicide attempts. I'm alive, thank God. But and when I was in my low, that's when I would use, because I would use and I wouldn't feel anything, and that was like the best part of using for me.
Yeah.
Is not dealing with what I had to deal with in life.
Yeah, you're self-medicating.
Yes.
In turn. Okay. And with the borderline personality, could you explain a little bit of that?
So that I really don't understand. Like I think it's like, for me, it's like you have multiple personalities in your body.
Mm-hmm.
Which I believe that because for a long time I would like catfish people and act like I was somebody I was not. Like I'd say I would give them my name, but like just not a picture of who I was.
Yeah,
So,
like on social media and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And would you like enter into almost like relationships and stuff like that?
Yep.
Okay. Now, would you not give like a real picture of yourself because of were you dealing with like personality, you know what I mean? Like having insecurities and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
and that's why I would do it, because I was insecure about how I looked. Like I never loved myself until now. Like I love me, who I am now.
Yeah.
Because I mean that's what I learned a lot from doing that, and like I feel bad every time I do it. So like I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. What age were you when you started catfishing people and stuff?
I was probably 16.
Okay. And did you have like a certain type of person that you would seek out?
No, like anybody who would message the profile that I had, I would just message them back.
Okay. And what type of profile picture did you have?
So I had like two, because the one they caught on to, so I had two. But the first one was like a blonde chick, and then the other one was like a brown haired chick.
Okay, so they were like attractive women?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know either of them?
The one I did, the other I did not.
Okay. How did you know the one that you know?
The one was a friend's sister.
Okay. Now, did they ever find out that you were
Yes.
using? Okay. How did that go?
So they confronted me and asked me to take the profile down, and I did, so.
Okay. How did they find out?
I don't even actually know. They just had found my profile. I don't know if somebody had like showed them or what. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you get gratification from that? Like, being that you were insecure, did you feel like you were getting attention and stuff like that? Did that make you feel good inside?
It made me feel good, but I think honestly what it was is I was lonely, because like I said, my mother was never there, so
Yeah.
I like just wanted somebody to listen to me and pay attention to me.
Yeah, almost like a sense of belonging and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
And the people that you would message, were they local people or people from different places, stuff like that?
It was like far away, like they were never local.
Okay, so did you ever seek people out through the profiles?
What do you mean?
Like you said, it would mostly be people that would message you the profile. Did you ever message other people out?
Yeah, I messaged like 2 people ever. Like all the other times they would always message my page that I had. At the time.
Did you know the people that you sought out, those 2 people that you initiated?
No, I didn't know them. I just saw their profile and thought they were cute, so I messaged them.
Okay. And how long did that go on?
That I catfish people?
Yeah.
Probably until a long time, actually. I think I just stopped when I was 26.
Okay.
So it was a long time.
Yeah, I listen. I commend you for admitting that, because there's, that's a serious problem.
Yeah.
That a lot of people do,
Yep.
and I commend you for admitting that, because that's, we do a lot of stuff, whether it's in our addiction or when we're dealing with mental health to cope.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't deal with those things we do or get honest with ourselves, and I think it ends up causing more pain and hurt because we have those secrets.
Exactly.
And drugs. When did drugs come into the picture for you?
Drugs came into the picture when I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Heavily drugs. Like, I smoked pot, but like it's a drug, but to me
Yeah.
it wasn't a heavy drug.
Yep.
I started doing meth when I was 22.
Okay. How did you get introduced to meth?
A girl at the time that I was dating.
All right. And did you snort it, or how did you use it for the
I
first time?
snorted it and smoked it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. So the way I got introduced was I met a girl in rehab, because I went to rehab once for alcohol. I met her, and we lived in the same town. She came to my house and said, "Hey, do you want to try meth?" And I was like, "Sure." So I went down that rabbit hole and never stopped.
What was it like the first time that you did meth?
Honestly, it was a crazy rush. Like, I never experienced a high like that before.
Okay.
I was up for days.
Yeah.
And I just, like, it makes you speed, like, really fast. And, like, you feel invisible with it. I think that's why I liked it.
Yeah. Did you have any bad experiences while using meth?
Not that I can remember, no. I mean, the only thing I would do is, like, if I didn't have money, I'd sell everything in my apartment.
Yeah.
I can remember the last time before I went to rehab, my friend went and cleaned my apartment out, and she's like, "You don't have anything but clothes."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, because I sold everything because I wanted to get high."
Now, did family and friends, how were they when your addiction came about?
So my mom didn't know I had a problem because we never really talked until I went to the psych hospital the very last time I went. So she came to see me, and I told her that I had to go to rehab. But, like, my friend didn't know I was using because I would always hide it from her.
Yeah.
And that was my best friend. So, like, for me to hide that was a big thing for me because I tell her everything. So to not tell her that I was using meth was a big deal for me. Because, like, I told her that I had to go to rehab because my lawyer was making me go because when I was in my addiction, I got in trouble. So I lied and said I had to go to rehab. But I actually went myself because I wanted to get help. I was tired of getting high and tired of selling my things in my home. So I went and got help, and honestly, I'm glad I went and got help because I probably would still be using it if I didn't go get help.
Yeah, awesome. Any other drugs that you use besides meth?
I've tried cocaine and I've tried Suboxone, but that's about it.
Okay. Did you have any issues with them, or meth was basically your drug of choice?
Meth was basically my drug of choice.
Okay. And how long have you been clean?
I've been clean for 3 years.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, since I stopped using, I've accomplished so much. I'm 27 and I just bought a car. I never would have accomplished that if I wouldn't have stopped using. So that's awesome for me.
I know y'all can't see me, but I'm back here smiling. You know what I mean? She can see me, but I love hearing about the things that we get to accomplish when we're clean, you know, because they seem so far and unobtainable when we're in the middle of our addiction. And then when we start to obtain those things, you know, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it's also extremely good for us because it lets us know that the harder we work, the more we can achieve.
Yeah.
and we could start to like set goals and be like, okay, I want to buy a house in 5 years,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. I think that's awesome. So what do you do to stay clean?
So to stay clean, when I first got clean, I'd go to meetings. I don't anymore just because they didn't really help me stay clean because I didn't feel like hearing people's war stories helped me.
Yeah.
But I'm involved with my church. I'm involved with our youth, which
Okay.
is amazing. I love those kids. They come to me for advice, which is weird to me because I'm like, you want to come to me for advice, but
Yeah.
it's awesome. Like I love it. I have a good support system. People I can talk to and rely on. I have an amazing sponsor, and I think what really made me stay clean the most was working at a rehab.
Okay.
Cause
Keeps it nice and fresh and green every
yeah,
day.
like I loved it. It was like my favorite. I loved working there. I met some amazing people, and I still am in contact with them to this day.
Okay.
So.
Do you, are you in a relationship or anything? Do you have a significant other?
No, not at this point.
Okay.
I'm
Have
just
you since
focused
being
on-
clean?
Have I had a yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
How was that?
It was weird because like to go in a relationship, and that was like an actual relationship. To go in an actual relationship and be like, so I'm in recovery is really
Yeah.
hard because like some people won't date you if you're in recovery, which
Yeah.
is really crazy because they judge you on something that happened in your past.
Did you feel as though the person you were in a relationship understood that or anything?
She understood it to a point, but not to like the extent to like know what to do if I wanted to use.
Got you. She sort of understood it from a bystander's
Yeah.
point of view.
Yep.
Okay. So, at what age did you understand that you were attracted to women?
Probably when I was young, I think, and after being raped, because so I'm not just attracted to women, I'm also attracted to men. But
Okay.
I mainly date women.
Okay.
So that's always been an issue in my life too, is my sexuality.
Yeah. So was it sort of like a mistrust for men because of
Yes.
your
Yeah, like
experience?
I recently went on a date with 2 guys, and it wasn't weird. Like it felt fine. It was normal to me, but like I just don't trust guys because because of me being raped,
What
it's
happened?
hard for me to trust men.
Yeah, absolutely. I could definitely see where that could be, the case.
Yeah.
If somebody does something to you, a lot of times it's hard for us to realize that it's a bad person and not a bad race or a bad, sex or, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Well, and like also like I find when I try to date a man, like they just want to have sex, and I'm like, I'm 27, I don't want that. Like I want a relationship. Yes, sex is great, but a relationship to me is more important than sex.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a little bit older, and now that I'm a little bit older, that I've experienced stuff, I realize that, like you said, sex is cool, but it's a very small part of finding a healthy relationship.
Exactly.
It's do you feel that women understand you a little better?
Yeah, and like they, I guess, let me be me. Not that men wouldn't let me be me, but like they're easier. Like you could talk to them. They don't get annoyed if you want to talk.
Absolutely. Us men, we're not the best listeners at times. Women are, of course, nurturers by nature, so they're gonna listen. They're gonna console you. Where, I even struggle with that with my wife. She'll be telling me something that's going on, and I'll be like, "Oh, when could this be over?" When it shouldn't be that way. But I think women are better listeners and care a lot more,
Yes.
than men.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you also had suicide attempts.
Yes.
Would you like to share anything about that?
Yeah. So when I was young, I tried to break bones because I'd self-harm myself for my mom's attention. But
Wow.
when I grew up, I tried to drown myself. I took a bunch of pills and OD'd on them. Somebody found me, luckily, and then I checked myself into the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank God. Do you feel as though your suicide attempts were cries for help, or did you actually not want to be alive?
I think it was a little bit of both.
Okay.
I didn't want to be alive, and it was a cry for help because I didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't know how to deal with my life because I felt like it was so out of control that like I couldn't
Yeah.
survive.
Yeah. How did you try to drown yourself?
I was in a bathtub and I tried to just, I like stayed underwater as long as I could until I couldn't breathe.
Yeah. So how is your mental health now?
Honestly, this is gonna sound crazy, but my mental health is better than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I was medicated for about 2 years and I've been on meds for a year now. And honestly, I've never felt better since I've been off them because I can actually feel. Because when I was on them, I didn't feel anything. I was numb. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to feel things like, I go to counseling, which is good for me because talking to people's what makes me feel better.
Okay. So that's your main way of coping is counseling and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any questions for me?
So what is your greatest accomplishment?
I think my greatest accomplishment is being a good father. I always, ever since I was younger, I always said, the one thing that I want to be is a great father. And I felt as if I was a great father, everything would fall underneath that umbrella. Meaning that if I was a good father, I would be a good husband because I want my children to see their father in a healthy relationship and I would respect their mother. I would be a hard worker because I'd want to provide. I would value, my life and my freedom and all that stuff because, a lot of times we see a good father as somebody who, spends time with their kids and stuff like that, but there's so much more to it, in my opinion.
Yes.
As a father, we have to be a provider, a protector, a preacher at times to our children.
Yes.
And most of all, lead by example because, they're not going to do what we say, they're going to do what we do.
Yeah.
So I think being a good father, and I still struggle with that at times because I have a son that I don't get to see, you know what I mean? And it's hard, I want to be there for him and his mother, she's extremely bitter and uses, my son as a way to get back at me. So it's hard and it's still an ongoing struggle. My daughters are becoming teenagers. They'll be 15 soon. So that's, we're crossing territory I've never had to cross before.
Yeah.
And I never had a father to show me what it is. So, we're all learning together.
Exactly.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, I thank you very much for your time, for sharing your story and your honesty. I commend you, for being clean and achieving your goals. And what's some other goals that you have that you would like to achieve?
So another goal I have is I'm on probation until September, which I can't wait to be off.
Yeah.
But my goal is to move back to Florida with my mother.
Awesome.
Our relationship is better than ever. So that's a goal of mine, and to also work back at a rehab. And I'm in school right now to be a drug and alcohol counselor. So that is something.
Awesome. I'm happy for you. Your story, I'm sure, is gonna resonate with others. Where, if people wanted to find you, do you have social media and stuff? Could you share it?
Yeah, I have social media. So my Facebook is Teela Marie, and then
Could you spell Teela?
Yes, Teela, and then Marie, Marie.
Okay.
It's the same as my Snapchat, and then also I have, what is my Instagram? My Instagram is, I think it's Teela Marie 2020. So.
Okay.
And then I'm making a Facebook page for something. I just don't know what it's gonna be called yet.
Okay. Awesome. Like I said, your goals, they're achievable, and we understand that now.
Yeah.
The more goals we achieve, we understand that we can do it. All we have to do is put that work in. So I just encourage you to keep on doing what you need to do to stay clean, to stay healthy in your mental state, and to achieve your goals. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
And it's nice getting to know you and sitting down
Same.
with this. So I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.